otras hijos de puta madre, a la verga.
Most wanted cartel leader Nemesio Oseguera, known as El Mencho, has died.
At first light in May 2015, a Mexican military helicopter rose over the rugged hills of western Mexico on what officials described as a high-priority mission. Its target was the most wanted man in the country. Minutes later, the aircraft was engulfed in flames and falling from the sky. Authorities confirmed it had been struck by a rocket-propelled grenade in a carefully coordinated ambush. The image of burning wreckage scattered across a rural field became an international symbol of how far the balance of power had shifted. Behind that attack stood Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, the man the world knew as El Mencho. For years, he had been a name spoken more often in intelligence briefings than in public. He rarely appeared in photographs. He gave no interviews, yet his influence expanded rapidly, transforming a regional criminal group into a national and international force. In February 2026, that long and violent chapter appears to have reached its definitive endgame. Reports are flooding in from the mountain town of Tapalpa that a massive coordinated operation by Mexican special forces has finally cornered the elusive kingpin. While official government channels maintain a high-security silence, intelligence circles and local witnesses describe a fierce, prolonged firefight that echoed through the canyons for hours. In cities like Guadalajara, the reaction was instantaneous. Vehicles set ablaze and highways blocked, the narcobloqueos that usually signal the death of a titan. To understand how such a figure rose to prominence, it is necessary to go back decades, long before military convoys and international rewards. His life began in the rural state of Michoacán, a region known for fertile farmland and sprawling avocado orchards. He was born into a poor family with limited opportunity. School ended early. Work began young. In communities where agriculture and illicit trade often overlap, exposure to smuggling networks can become part of daily reality. Reports suggest that as a teenager, he guarded marijuana crops, learning the geography of the mountains and the informal codes that governed underground operations. In the 1980s, economic pressure pushed him north. He crossed into the United States and settled in California, where he became involved at a low level in drug distribution. Court documents show multiple arrests tied to narcotics offenses. When he eventually returned to Mexico in the mid-1990s, he brought with him something more valuable than status: experience. He joined the Milenio Cartel, a regional organization operating in western Mexico. Through strategic alliances and marriage into the Valencia family, he strengthened his standing. But Mexico's criminal landscape was shifting. Federal crackdowns were dismantling established cartels, creating power vacuums and fragmentation. From that instability emerged a new force under his leadership. The CJNG did not follow the traditional model of secrecy. Instead, it embraced visibility. Videos surfaced online showing masked gunmen standing in formation beside armored vehicles, declaring loyalty and strength. The imagery was deliberate. It projected discipline, coordination, and firepower. Under his command, the organization diversified operations. While older cartels relied heavily on plant-based drugs, the CJNE invested in synthetic production, particularly methamphetamine and fentanyl. Chemical precursors imported through Pacific ports were converted into high-potency products destined for international markets. The scale of expansion drew intense scrutiny from both Mexican and US authorities. The United States government placed a reward reaching a staggering $15 million for information leading to his capture. one of the highest ever offered in history. Pressure mounted year after year. Raids targeted financial networks and regional commanders. Associates were arrested or killed, yet he remained elusive. Intelligence agencies described him as cautious and mobile, frequently relocating between rural strongholds. Over time, another layer of uncertainty entered the narrative: his health. Persistent reports suggested he suffered from severe kidney disease, requiring regular dialysis treatment. For a fugitive constantly on the move, chronic illness became a critical vulnerability. Inside the organization, authority had long been centralized around his persona. Removing such a figure, whether through capture, death, or incapacity, risked internal fragmentation. Rival criminal groups, including the Sinaloa cartel, monitored developments closely, waiting for any sign of weakness. Territorial competition in regions across western and central Mexico intensified as factions tested boundaries. The 2026 operation near Tapalpa unfolded after what officials described as the most extensive intelligence cooperation between Mexican forces and international partners in history. Surveillance narrowed possible locations. Financial tracking disrupted supply lines. When the final raid commenced, it was swift and heavily armed. By the time the smoke cleared, the hunt that had lasted more than a decade had finally reached its conclusion. Yet eliminating a leader does not instantly dismantle a structure built across multiple states and international corridors. The CJNG operates through semi-autonomous cells capable of independent action. In the days following these reports, analysts warned of possible power struggles among lieutenants. Some regions experienced spikes in violence as commanders attempted to assert dominance. Others saw rapid deployment of security forces aiming to prevent escalation. The rise and fall of El Mencho reflects broader forces that shape organized crime. Economic inequality, limited rural opportunity, and the cross-border demand for narcotics all contribute to cycles that outlast individual figures. The helicopter shot from the sky in 2015 symbolized confrontation at its peak. The reported illness hinted at human vulnerability. The final operation in 2026 delivered closure to a manhunt that spanned continents. But closure does not equal resolution. Structures remain. Markets persist. Rivalries continue. In the end, the story is not solely about one man. It is about the conditions that allow such power to grow and the challenges of dismantling it. As the world moves forward from this chapter, the era defined by the name El Mencho has ended. The consequences of that ending, however, are still unfolding across mountains, cities, and borders far beyond where it first began. The throne of the Sierras is empty, and in the underworld, an empty throne is the most dangerous thing of all.